Hello, friends, and welcome to the third episode of the Warlock podcast. As always, as the CEO of Storyvault and the person with the most important opinion in Hollywood, Fat Fred, will be the host. Joining me again is my co-host, the one and only savior of humanity, the hero that insurance companies hate, the master of byproducts, Captain Oak. Captain, how are you doing, my friend?
Fred, as always, a pleasure to be here. But I'm a little pissed off, man. I was thinking about returning to my job, saving the world, being a superhero, as I used to in the past. I flew to the city, walked into the city hall, got upstairs into the mayor's bureau, But Mayor Gizmo said that there is no need for a superhero in town currently. This is absolute garbage. There is always need for a superhero, man. I mean, back then, the insurance companies paid millions of dollars to the city administration after every of my missions, I mean, what is an economy stimulation if that isn't,
Captain, from your lips to God's ear. Let's dive into today's topic. This podcast is the first episode of 2 in which we will thematize in detail all the important eras in Hollywood from the 60s till nowadays timeline. Today, me and the Captain will tell you about the new Hollywood era in all of its different facets. Okay, let's start, of course, chronologically. The new Hollywood era can be roughly classified between 1967 and 1980. But to understand this time, we first have to take a short look in the time before.
You mean into the land before time, Fred. I love dinosaurs.
Captain, why should we talk about dinosaurs now? Let me talk, please. As I was about to say, before New Hollywood, the cinema was behind the times. The reason for that were several things. One was that television was not a luxury product anymore. In 1960, 90% of the households in the U.S. had a television connection. More and more people skipped the trip to the cinema and watched TV, comfortable at home. In addition to the comfort, television also portrayed a more honest view of the world. While in the cinema, every war movie was heroic and clean. The people saw footage of the cruel Vietnam mission at home. Instead of always the same musicals, they saw fresh comedy shows like the Beverly Hillbillies or Bewitched, with relatable characters they wanted to get updated on. The TV was comfortable, less expensive, and more contemporary. What did the studios do in reaction to that, Captain?
Fred, I thought I would never get the word again with your goddamn monologues, man. But anyway, the big studios had no visions and no creativity, and the only thing they had in reaction to the TV was to make the movies bigger, more monumental, and insanely expensive. Between 1960 and 1967, they produced one flopping blockbuster after another. One example would be the monumental film Cleopatra out of 1963, which was over 5 hours long, man. Who the fuck is watching a 5-hour movie in the cinema, man? And costed $44 million, which would be today around $400 million. Man, that's around Fred's weekly salary, And with that, he made a minus of $3.7 million, today around $45 million after 1 year. Shortly said, they fucked up.
Spoken like a true poet, Captain. Flops like that brought the studios to the edge of collapse, and something had to change. That is where the new Hollywood filmmaking came into play. If we would have to mark one explicit point for the start of this era, it would be the release of Arthur Penn's famous movie, Bonnie and Clyde. The drama broke radically with the Hays Code and showed bloody violence, explicit sexuality, and most important, showed a sympathetic version of criminals, which the audience was supposed to like. Until then, that had been unthinkable in America. The movie was inspired by the European art of filmmaking and hit Hollywood like a bombshell. Even though the old guard of the media described it as tasteless, the new generation absolutely loved it. Financially, the film was also a hit. With a small budget of $2.5 million, he brought in around $50 million into the box office, and that's only in America. It unleashed a wave of creative, profound, and taboo-breaking movies filmed by a number of today's legendary directors. Captain, what were the trademarks of this era?
Fred, there are a lot of guys we have to mention here. First of all, my personal favorite, of course, Richard Donner. His Superman movie changed the genre, and through him, heroes got finally taken serious, you know? Besides him, in general, we have four widely known directors in his era. First, Francis Coppola. Both of his Godfather movies are known as some of the best films of all time. Also, he filmed the legendary war movie, Apocalypse Now. By the way, did you know how insane the filming of that movie went, man? 14 weeks were planned, but at the end of the day, they needed 16 months only for the shootings. This was mainly due to typhoons destroying the sets, the Philippine army taking away their borrowed helicopters to fight rebels with it, or Marlon Brando appearing massively overweight on set, man. Anyway, another important one was Steven Spielberg.